This week on Voices of Valor, I sat down with a former Marine who spent 17 years serving as a motor transport specialist and even kept going after losing a finger. John Pick Jr. is sharing his story with us.
Yeah, I caused a Marine Corps wide safety stand down my first day of my first field op in the Fleet Marine Corps.
So, John, talk to me about growing up. How was your childhood?
I had a very good childhood. I'm born and raised in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, with my parents, and after I graduated, I decided that the military was a good route for me to go.
Was anybody else in your family military?
My uncle was a Vietnam veteran from United States Marine Corps.
Okay. Did he have any influence of you wanting to join the military?
Oh, he was a key influence, and once we connected that way, it was like the son he never had.
Well, talk to me about that relationship.
Well, you know, with a lot of veterans, they don't talk about their services, their time in the service, especially Vietnam veterans and war veterans. But I was the one that once I joined, he was able to open up, talk about his stories, his history, what all he's done, what all he's seen. And I think actually it helped him a lot having somebody to be able to open up to, somebody that could understand and have that connection with him.
And so for you, what exactly were you doing in the military?
So I did 17 years in the United States Marine Corps. Retired back in 2015. I was a motor transport operator, motor transport chief, a recruiter, and a hazmat specialist.
And what does that job entail? For a lot of people, they don't know what that is.
Truck driver.
Oh, okay.
I drove trucks for the Air Wing here in Cherry Point, artillery in Jacksonville, and taught at the motor transport schoolhouse in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri for a couple of years. And yeah, it was good times.
It was good times.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, what were some of your favorite memories while you were in service?
Favorite memories? Just making the connections, the friendships that even to this day, when I taught the Marines that I was connected to, it's like we never skipped a beat. We're like brothers and sisters, and we could be states apart, but we still talk like we have never disconnected from each other. But the time serving with them and the adventures we went on, especially being out in the Mediterranean for 7 months on the USS Kearsarge, and getting to go out and see the countries and enjoy the ports of liberty, and yeah, it was all great times.
Well, tell me more about that trip. 7 months out there. Tell me about that.
It was good. We went to everywhere out in the Med, to Italy, Greece, France, Turkey, Spain, Croatia, Malta, Sardinia, Macedonia. I went and spent a day. We camped out in Bella Woods up in France for on the battlefield. We did a battlefield tour, popped up 2-man tents for the night, and then the next day we got up and loaded the buses and went to Paris for a day. And, you know, only paid $40 for that, so it's not like you can go anywhere and actually have that opportunity and pay $40 and, matter of fact, get paid to be there. So, but it was fun. You know, it was getting to experience the cultures and try different foods, and yeah, it was a good time.
Well, you have your favorite memories, and I'm sure you have some sad memories or bad memories. Like you said, your uncle, he finally had someone that he could talk to with you, he can open up to. Kind of talk to me about some of the things that veterans maybe hold in, that they don't tell people, they don't want to talk about, and maybe some of your own stories if you would like to share.
Well, there is a concern with veterans and not being able to trust people to open up to. A lot of them don't want to open up. They want to keep it inside them, which causes a lot of issues when you deal with PTSD and depression and stuff like that. And I myself went through that. But I seeked help, and being able to have someone to talk to that I trusted and that I could open up and tell stories and get things off my shoulders and off my mind, it helped me out a lot. And it's very important for the veterans to be able to open up, find somebody they could open up to and get those ideas and those thoughts and get them off your chest, get them off your shoulders, release that burden, and be able to actually smile a little more.
And so for the general public, how can the general public, if they come across a veteran, how can they maybe speak to them in a way that maybe the veteran would open up to them? Like, what could they do?
Show them that you're trustful, that you're somebody that they can rely on. Starts with a smile, a handshake, a thank you, a welcome home, and give them that opportunity to build that trust for them to be able to open up to someone.
All right, let's start back at the beginning. You're 17 years in the Marine Corps. Kind of talk to me about how you got from point A to point B from, throughout your 17 years. Kind of walk me through it.
Okay, so like I said, I joined the Marine Corps out of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Went to boot camp at Parris Island, South Carolina, in the middle of July. Great times when it's very hot and humid in Parris Island. Graduated Parris Island in October. Went to Camp Geiger for training there for basic infantry stuff. Completed that training. Went to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri for motor transport operator school. Once I graduated that, got orders to 2nd Battalion, 10th Marines, Echo Battery, Artillery. Spent 3 years and some change hauling around artillery pieces and ammunition and personnel. And that's when I got to experience the 7-month Mediterranean cruise on the USS Kearsarge. We were actually in the Mediterranean when September 11th happened. So we kind of were on a standby to see what's going to happen and where we're going to go from there. And luckily we came home, got done from there, got transferred over to Quantico, Virginia to the Marine Corps University for Command and Staff College. And I was a support chief there. I ran the warehouse. I transported students and staff and personnel wherever they needed to go. I got to do some good battle tours and learn some history through the college, and that was good. Then I got voluntold to go on recruiting duty. Went to San Diego for a little while, went to recruiter school, got orders to recruiting station Detroit. That was interesting within its own. And it's kind of like going to a foreign country and learning new cultures. From Detroit, we went to Cherry Point and spent some time there. Went from Cherry Point to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, where I was an instructor. And from there, back to Cherry Point where I was medically retired after 17 years.
So you have the different branches of the military, but Marines, they're like set apart. So kind of talk to me about why specifically you decided to actually join the Marines and not the other branches.
I wanted to do something that was going to be challenging. Like I said, I had an uncle that was a Marine, and listening to his stories and the training and the experience and the respect and everything that came from that. And I have an uncle that was in the Navy. He retired as a chief, and the Marine Corps sounded more interesting. I wanted that challenge. I needed that discipline. So that's the route I decided to go, and I'm glad I did it. From everything that they've taught me, and I've been trained, and the skills and the mindsets and everything I've gotten from that experience has helped me be successful outside of the Marine Corps.
Now kind of tell me, see, I've never been military. So kind of tell me exactly, why is it so difficult to actually be a Marine?
Well, what I learned in recruiting duty is only 1% of the American population is actually qualified to be a Marine. With that, that's due to a lot of people not being qualified medically, education, and police involvement and stuff like that. But the Marine Corps has a high standard for what they recruit and what joins the Marine Corps and what can actually make it through the training. Because it is a strenuous 13-week training in either Parris Island, South Carolina, or San Diego, California. And both of them are not resort cities. I can tell you that. I've been there. Not vacations, but it's definitely a challenge that not a lot can be successful in.
And talk to me about the training. What exactly does a Marine Corps training look like?
A lot of running, a lot of physical activity, a lot of classroom work, drill, learning how to do the manual of arms. A lot of physical activity, a lot of physical activity. When I say physical activity, I mean running, pull-ups, push-ups, physical.
Right.
'Cause you gotta be in shape. But through all of that, a lot of discipline is instilled in the Marine to be able to handle situations when they arise and have the mentality to complete the mission successfully. But yeah, it's a strenuous 13-week training.
So it's strenuous physically, but you
Physically,
also said
mentally.
that, yes, mentally, but it does train your mindset. So what kind of values do you have now? Or if you had to compare yourself to before you started to after you got out, talk to me about the difference between John before and John after.
John before focused mainly on John. Through the military and through the training, you've learned how to focus on not only yourself, but those that are around you. Those that when you become a leader in the military or in the Marine Corps, you have those that work for you. So you're not only there for you, you got to be there for them too. Not only can you make yourself successful, but you need them to help make yourself successful. And then you doing everything and passing that down to them helps build their framework to be successful themselves.
And do you have kids yourself?
I have 3 kids.
Are any of your kids in the military?
My oldest daughter, Callie, she's living in Massachusetts. She married a Marine. He got out as a sergeant. He was a crew chief on the CH-53s in New River. And they moved to Massachusetts, and he's currently going to MIT for computer sciences. So he wanted the Marine Corps experience before he went to college, and he's letting the GI Bill pay for his college. And they're doing pretty well for themselves. And I have another daughter that lives in Wilmington, her and her boyfriend, Bailey and Ethan. And then I have a 17-year-old Cannon that's still at home. He'll be a senior in New Bern High School this year.
Okay.
And inspires to go to Craven Community next year.
Okay, wonderful. What do you tell people now? So you're heavily involved in a lot of veteran groups and different things around. Talk to us about those groups that you are involved in.
So I am the commander of American Legion Post 539 here in New Bern. Okay. We're composed of veterans of all different eras. And our goal is to help take care of the veterans in the community. Providing support to them if they need support, helping them financially if they have financial issues, and we also get them the help that they need if they're looking for services out in the community for their needs. We also provide support to other organizations that provide support to veterans, and a lot of that is these smaller organizations that take care of veterans, they need financial support. So we're able to provide them financial support to keep their facilities open, to keep their programs running. I'm the chaplain for Veterans of Foreign Wars Post 2514 in New Bern. We do pretty much the same stuff that the American Legion does, but we actually have a facility that veterans can come and congregate at, and they can share their stories, and they can build relationships, and like I talked about earlier, find that person that they're able to open up to, and we're able to provide that in counseling services. We hold weekly counseling services at the VFW. So veterans that need counseling, they can come in free of charge and sit down with a counselor and get some stuff off their chest and help get them where they need to be. I am me and my wife are the coordinators for Wreaths Across America for Cedar Grove Cemetery here in New Bern. This is our 2nd year running that. We volunteered out at National Cemetery with Kevin Yates and Addie Yates, and 2 years ago, and I've done work at Cedar Grove on cleaning veterans' headstones. I've done some work to have veterans' headstones installed that didn't have them or had stones that were unlegible. So we've ordered new stones and had them put in. As we left National Cemetery, I went by Cedar Grove and I realized that there was no program for Wreaths Across America. And we have 375 veterans out there that are identifiable by their headstones. But with work with the Historical Society, we found over 500 veterans that are buried in Cedar Grove, and the cemetery and the annex together. So we have a Boy Scout that's working on his Eagle Scout project to help identify all 500, so that next year when we place wreaths, we can actually place wreaths on every veteran that's buried out there, not just those that are identifiable. We hold the Wreaths Across America Chili Cook-Off annually, and it'll be in November 22nd of this year. So that's ran by me and my wife. Proceeds from that benefit both National Cemetery and Cedar Grove Cemetery's Wreaths Across America's program. And then myself and Chief Ron Tuttle, active duty bosun's mate, we have just started a new venture. It's going to be called Eastern North Carolina Honor Flight. So that's going to be able to provide a free trip for World War II, Korea, and Vietnam veterans to go to D.C. for a weekend. We'll get them bused or shuttled down there, and they'll be able to go to all the monuments, all the memorials, the museums, and all that, all free of charge. So we'll get them there, we'll put them in hotels, we'll provide meals, and then when we bring them back home, we're going to have a big welcome home for them. And the key thing about that is a lot of our veterans, our Vietnam veterans, they didn't get a welcome home. And we're going to provide that for them. And for your Vietnam veterans that weren't provided that welcome home, to tell them welcome home just brings a smile to their face, because they waited for that. They expected that. And a lot of them didn't get it.
You've heard a lot of stories. You do counseling services and all that. Maybe share with us some of the, I guess, the craziest stories that maybe some veterans have told you, or even yourself.
So when I forgot to mention, I was deployed to Iraq for a year in
Okay.
09. Whenever I was here the first time in Cherry Point, I was deployed with the 2nd Mall headquarters, and we did a lot of training with the Iraqi military, and we had oversight of UAV oversight of all the training and everything that was going on. And the funniest one we ever did is we had a big 40-foot container set out in the middle of the desert for the Iraqi Air Force to use as target practice. Well, we set it out one day. We come out the next day to run the target range, and the container was gone. So we followed the drag marks, and all we found left was a frame of a container. So the Bedouins that were out there, they stripped this container down to just a frame and somehow dragged it across the desert. So we postponed the training to another day. So we get another container, we take an airlift and drop it off, and provided overwatch and security on it. And as the range went hot, in come a dirt bike with 2 Bedouins on it, and they ran into the container. So we're yelling to shut down the range, stop firing, and luckily no rounds were fired, nobody was injured. The Bedouins got out, got back on their dirt bike, and off they went. And we were able to complete the training as expected, safely. And but it was funny to come in and find that the container had been stripped down and drug across the desert, and then probably the same people coming back thinking that they hit a pot of gold with another container. But yeah, it was pretty interesting. It was
Wow.
fun times.
Fun times, fun times. So for you, of course, you would want to offer support for other people who may be thinking about joining the military. What can you say to them about joining?
Joining the military, it's a good stepping stone or platform to set yourself up for success in the future. When I was a recruiter in Detroit, we had everybody wanted to be infantry. They wanted to go out and shoot guns and blow stuff up and all that. That's fun. That's cool. I've done it. I've had fun with it. But my key thing was for them to take away an actual skill that can be transferred into the civilian force. I would have them sit and look at what jobs were available that they qualified for, and I would tell them, what can you do outside of the military for this? And they would take it home and they would come back, and the parents were even happy, like, hey, I'm glad you talked to my son. Was set on being an infantryman, but you opened his eyes to what's available for him after the military life. And that's the key thing. And getting them the skills for traits that are going to be needed, because a lot of our jobs right now, our trades, are ran by the older community, and a lot of them are retiring, and it's going to come to a point that without the younger crowd getting involved with the trades, it's going to make it hard for any of us to be able to afford to have anything done work wise, trade wise, because it's going to get to a point that they can pretty much name their price for whatever service needs to be done. So the biggest thing is to talk to them about what's available outside of the military with the training that they've received while they were in.
Right, right. And what do you look for when you were recruiting? What did you look for?
Somebody that was qualified.
What are usually the qualifications for to be a Marine?
I mean, you obviously have to be fit.
Okay.
We did have some that come in that were lacking the physical fitness, and we had to do a little extra work with them. You know, take them out on runs and take them to the gym and find some things to do to help build their core strength, so that when they got to Paris Island, they were fit. They were able to pass the physical fitness test without any worries. You look for the kind that has the sharp mentality that this is what they want to do. They want to be successful, but they also want to be able to carry on outside of the military, be able to step up and get into programs and into college and into the job field, and make it more than just a 4-year term to have fun, but they also want to take that advantage and further their education and step into, college and get their degrees, or, their trade skills or whatever they were interested in. And being in Detroit, it was kind of hard to find a lot of people that were qualified, because I was there from '05 to '08 whenever they started shutting down all the automotive plants, and the war was kicking up and all that. And I got a lot of kickback from parents that didn't want their kids to join the military, but because they were content with their kids just living at home. But once the parents sat down and looked at what we were able to provide, other than what was going on in the world at that time, they realized that it was something that they might not be able to provide, because, like I said, a lot of them had lost their jobs, that they were not going to be able to provide for their son or daughter, and that this was an opportunity for them to be able to be successful, and the parents would be able to breathe a little better, knowing that they didn't have to find ways to support their children or to get their kids to school and stuff like that. So yeah, it took a lot of work. It's not easy. In the Marine Corps, they just don't walk in the door skipping with their parents and are ready to join. So you got to do a lot of work to keep them interested, get them interested, and keep them on board.
This is another question for you. Has being in the military, has it changed the way that you view our country? Or did it change the way you view our country?
I still have the same love for our country that I had before I joined.
Talk to me about that.
Well, in high school, I was in the Naval ROTC.
Okay.
So I was building some discipline before I even joined the military. But I was always pro-military, especially with my uncle, or uncles. And pro-military, there's really nothing that's, maybe after joining, you build a little bit more respect and honor in the United States. And you carry that on whenever you get out. And then you have to help your community keep that pride and strength and their love for the United States.
So what does a day for you look like now? Like, so you say you have those counseling meetings. What are you doing?
Well, I work.
Oh, you work
I actually
still?
have
Okay.
a job.
Okay, where do you work at now?
I work at the Naval Health Clinic on Cherry Point.
Okay, the Naval Health Clinic.
And
Okay.
I am a government contract auditor, financial technician there. And my wife is actually a contractor and works kind of catty-corner across from me.
Okay.
She does medical supply. So go to work. While I'm at work, if I have time to think, I come up with new great ideas of things to do for our veteran community. And that's where how I came up with the chili cook-off for the Reach Across America. And then me and myself and Ron Tuttle getting together and coming up with a deal to open up a hub here in North Carolina, Eastern North Carolina, for veterans to be able to enjoy the Honor Flight program. And we would come home and just being involved with all these programs, everything. My nights are pretty much tied up because I'm also a member of Veteran Enforcers Motorcycle Association. Forgot to mention that one because there's so many, some of them slip.
Yeah.
And we provide support for military members, law enforcement, firefighters, and first responders through VEMA, and meetings almost every night. I have a meeting tonight with the Vietnam Veterans Association to talk about the Honor Flight program, and then I have another meeting tomorrow night and another meeting Thursday night, and then I have something Friday. Me and the wife, we have to put our schedules together and come up with plan of attack, especially when it comes to feeding the young one at the house. So, but it keeps you on your toes. It keeps the dementia away. Staying busy, it gives you time to not have to reflect back on the negative things. And knowing that you're out there helping veterans and helping your community, it makes it a lot better.
So, speaking of that, do you have memories that I'm pretty sure have locked away that you don't think about, but you said you did go to counseling and gotten help for that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else you would like to add?
Anybody that's interested in getting involved with veterans organizations, like the American Legions or the VFWs, Honor Flight, Reach Across America, reach out to the organizations, and we'd love to have as many people, service members, that are willing to come out and have some fun and talk to other service members, enjoy the programs, take advantage of the programs that are out there, and I welcome them. We all welcome them, and we'd love to have them.
Tell me actually why you decided to get out of the military.
I was medically retired after 17 years. I've had some back issues, and it got to the point that prolonged standing, walking, jumping in and out of trucks, it got to the point where my back was just so messed up that I went through all the physical therapies, and I went through all the pain managements and taking pain medications and stuff like that it got to the point that they had to go ahead and medically retire me. And if it wouldn't have been for that, I would have done 20 plus. So, but I don't take it as a negative. I take it as a positive. I work every day to rebuild the strength in my back, and it don't stop me from doing what needs to be done out in the community.
Well, we can't see your back pain, but we can actually see your hand. So would you mind telling us maybe what happened?
So,
did that happen in the
funny
lift?
story about my hand. Back in March of 1999, it was my first day of my first field op in the Fleet Marine Corps when I was in Camp Lejeune. I drove my truck out. I was with the artillery battery. I drove my truck out to where we were setting up the artillery pieces, and my A driver, which was a sergeant, and I was just a little POC, he told me to park the truck and get out and put the cami net up over the truck, the camouflage netting over the truck. I got up on top of the truck, rolled the netting down, the front, the back, the sides. I got on the driver's side fender, jumped off the truck, and when I hit the ground, I felt a bunch of pressure. Well, what had happened is my wedding band had caught a bolt on top of the mirror, and it degloved the finger. So this bone was still intact, but the finger was still hanging on the mirror.
Okay. So, and your face is like...
And the key takeaway from that is you're working in a physical job field that requires a lot of running, jumping, heavy lifting. Don't wear your wedding band. Or at least wear one of the silicone ones that'll break off if you were to be in a situation like I was.
Okay. I hope you told your wife I lost a finger for you.
I did. I told her it was her fault because she kept complaining that I wouldn't wear my wedding band to work or to the field. So I told her that one time I did wear it to the field, I lost my finger. But,
I'm sorry, and her response was?
don't blame me.
Okay.
I said, okay. But, I have a lot of fun with it. You got to take advantage of the opportunities. I donate a lot of change in the drive-through windows. Hide and seek with my kids when they were younger was a lot of fun because, you kind of
And now you have to wear your wedding band on your right
I
hand
wear my
now.
wedding band on the right hand now, so, we're having a desk job. There's no, I'm not going to lose my finger with a stapler. Math with my children was, when they were growing up, was a little challenging because when you try to tell them 10 and they're telling you 9, it's.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but it's
Arguments,
like,
my wife would laugh and said the arguments between me and my daughters with math and me helping them, and then after we realized what was going on, we finally made the call that maybe she needed to help them when it came to using your fingers for math, because we always came up one short whenever it was on my end.
okay,
So,
all right.
But yeah, no, it was not a fun story, I did have there was a story that was written in the Ground Warrior magazine for the spring of '99 issue. This story has a ring to it, and it was about my accident.
This story has a ring to it.
This story has a ring to it.
That's clever.
Yes. So whoever wrote that, they had a good little title for it.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, I caused a Marine Corps wide safety stand down my first day of my first field op in the Fleet Marine Corps. So yeah, a lot of people out there were in during that time and would happen to remember that, and I've had some conversations with some senior official or military members that remembered that incident and the stand down that I caused, and it was interesting listening to what they had to say.
All right, John. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.